Welcome to yoga. The session is designed with recovery in mind. We'll start in child's pose. When you get there, take 3 complete deep breaths. Make your way over to your left side, bringing the left arm down by your left hip and allowing your right fingertips to reach as far as they can, getting a nice long stretch across the right side of the body. Continue to take deep breaths here. Coming back through center, do the same thing on the other side. Moving back to the center, take a moment. One final nice big inhale and nice big exhale. We're going to start to roll up into a modified cat-cow position, rolling up through the spine and then sinking the hips low into a cobra position. Rolling back through the spine, sinking the hips low back again. On an inhale, begin to round your spine. And then on an exhale, bring your hips forward, bending the elbows slightly. Take a moment to shift through the hips and the shoulders when you get to that cobra that is modified, and then make your way back to child's pose. We'll do that again. Inhale, rounding. Exhale, sinking the hips forward, bending the elbows. Making any movement here. And then taking everything back. Child's pose. One more time. Inhale, round through the spine as much as you can. Spread through the ribs. Exhale, bring the hips forward. Taking the hips from side to side. And then sending everything back to child's pose again. Take a big inhale here. And a big exhale. Bringing the knees close together, we're going to step the right foot forward, coming into a low lunge. Getting nice and strong, making sure that knee is over the ankle and you're in front of the kneecap on the other leg. Plant the left hand down, bring the right hand up. Nice big inhale and exhale. Option to reach back for those toes, or just leave that leg on the ground. Release the toes, bring the hand back to the inside of the right foot. Take a quick breath, and then you have an option to come down onto the elbows here, coming into lizard pose. You can also put a block beneath you or leave your arms straight in this pose. Then come onto the outside edge of the right foot. You can take your hand right below the knee and press into the thigh there, or reach back for the toes to increase the stretch in the pose, in your hips and in your hamstrings. Don't forget to breathe. Release the toes, bring the hands down, press your way back up, bring that foot back in, and we'll press back into a runner's lunge. Keeping the toes on the floor for a moment to engage the top of the foot, getting a stretch there. And then on your next inhale, bring the toes up towards the sky, keeping that foot flexed, leaning the torso out and over. Take a complete cycle of breath. Bringing your legs back, take a moment, move your rib cage from side to side, hips from side to side, and then spiral through the center of your rib cage, taking the ribs out, up and over, and then reversing that process, bringing it out, up and over the other direction. Should feel pretty good. Don't forget to breathe. Connecting breath to movement here. And then we'll bring the left leg forward and complete that cycle of low lunge on this side. Keeping the right hand down, bringing the left hand towards the sky, engaging through the abdominal muscles, knee over ankle, option to reach back for those toes, connecting movement to breath. Option to stay right where you are, leaving that leg extended. And then bring that left hand to the inside of the left leg, walk that foot out slightly and rotate to the outside edge of that foot. Breathe here. And then you have an option to press beneath the knee and engage through the hips any amount more. Again, you can bend back, reach for the top of the toes here, releasing through the hips and the inner thighs. Take a complete cycle of breath, inhaling and exhaling, and then we'll come back into that lizard pose again. Again, this can be done on your hands or on your elbows, wherever your range of motion is. Continue to breathe. Big inhales, big exhales. From here, come to the tops of your feet, and then we'll extend back into that runner's lunge. Don't forget to pause and press the toes to the earth for just a moment to stretch the top of the foot. And then on your next breath, send the toes towards the sky, lengthening through the hamstring, the calf muscle, and breathing here. This should feel pretty good for those tight hamstrings. Then bring that left leg back to meet the right. Take a moment, reset the spine, move the hips from side to side, circle through the rib cage, whatever feels good. Then we'll tuck the toes here, lift the knees off, walk the hands in line, send the hamstrings to the back of the room, and make your way to the first downward facing dog. As always, when you get there, feel free to shake out your legs, pedal out your feet, and then make sure your hips and hands are hips distance apart. Your feet and your hands are hip distance apart. Take a big breath in and let it go. Big breath in and let it go. Gaze between your hands and walk forward to bring yourself into the first forward fold of class. Reach for opposite elbows, bend those knees, and then gently sway from side to side here, allowing the low back to feel a lengthening. Take a few breaths. Big inhale, big exhale, and then we'll make our way to a stand position. Inhale the arms overhead. We'll begin a sun salutation. Inhale the arms overhead. And exhale, extend the arms nice and long. Take an inhale, bring the fingertips to the shins, lengthen through the spine. And then on your exhale, send your hands towards the mat and step back into a first plank position. Bring your shoulders over your wrists, engage your abdominal muscles. Shift forward, bend the elbows just to 90, flip the feet, and come up into an upward facing dog. Flip the feet again, downward facing dog. We'll do 3 cycles of breath here. Feel free to move, pedal out the feet, whatever feels good to you here. And breathe. Then gaze forward. You can step or hop forward. Find that forward fold. Inhale halfway. Exhale, release. Inhale, bring the arms all the way up overhead. And exhale, send those arms by your side. We'll start that sun salutation again. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Plant the hands. Inhale halfway. Exhale, plant the hands, and now make your way back into plank. Shift the weight forward. Bend the elbows to 90. Find your chaturanga. Remember, this can be done on your knees as well. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale, make your way downward facing dog. 3 complete cycles of breath. This time, try to remain as still as possible. And then gaze forward, step or hop. Inhale halfway, exhale, release. Inhale, send the arms all the way overhead. And exhale, send those arms by your side. Beautiful job. From here, we're going to step into triangle pose. So first, we'll start by stepping out your left foot, turning it to the back of the mat. Square up your right, and then send your left arm down towards your toes and your right arm towards the sky. Work to keep your heel in line with the back arch of your foot and your chest open as wide as possible. Don't forget to breathe. Big inhale, Big exhale. And then inhale to come up, and we'll switch our toes right where we are. Left toes in, right toes out. Arms come out wide. Right arm comes down, left arm comes up. Gaze towards the sky. Press those toes into the mat to find a lengthen through the torso. Take a nice big inhale and a nice big exhale. We're going to bring our hands down and bring our left foot to step in line, the heels in line with the right, coming in a pyramid pose. Ensure that hip is coming forward. Take a big inhale and send the nose towards the knee. Your stance should be about 1.5 to 2 feet wide. A very small stance, lengthening through the hamstrings. And then on an inhale, come all the way up. And we'll rotate to the back, right where you are. Pyramid on the other side. This time, feel free to reach for opposite elbows or come into reverse prayer. Bring the palms together and up to the center of the shoulder blades. Take a big inhale and then exhale, bringing the forehead towards the knee. Beautiful. Lengthening through both hamstrings, bringing the hips towards the front of the room. On your next inhale, rise all the way up, and we'll come back together. We're going to come into tree pose. So standing on your right leg, we're going to bring, the dogs got involved here. So standing on your left leg, we're going to bring our right foot towards our inner thigh, calf muscle or tripod. Bring your hands to heart center and find a spot that won't move to stare at. On your next inhale, you have an option to send your arms overhead to challenge your balance. Take complete breaths, big inhale, big exhale. And then bring your palms back down. We're going to take the ankle and send it right above the knee and coming into a standing pigeon. This is going to get deep into the hips. You can release your hand and then maybe send both hands down towards the earth and really feel that lengthening into the hips. If you're having trouble seeing, it makes perfect sense. On an inhale, bring your hands back up to heart center. Release your foot to the earth. Take a moment, shake out what you need to. Maybe adjust your hair. Maybe remind your dogs that this video is not for them. And then we'll do the other side. Grounding through that right foot, pick up the left. Make your way to true Vrikshasana. Find a point of concentration. And then on your next breath, go ahead and release your hands up towards the sky, growing nice and tall. Big inhale. Big exhale. Beautiful. Palms come together, bring them to heart center. And then you have that option again to take the ankle right above the knee and slowly start to fold forward, releasing your arms towards the earth to really lengthen into that hip. Beautiful job. Take a nice inhale. Take a nice exhale and start to rise up. Bring your feet down. Take a moment and shake. From here, we're going to come into a goddess squat all the way down on your mat, or garland pose. Lengthen the tailbone down to the ground. Then drop your left arm down and right arm up to open through the chest. Option to bind here. Don't forget to breathe. Big inhale, big exhale, opening through the chest. Coming back to center, take a moment, drop the right arm down, left arm up, and repeat on the same side. Then release down. We're going to take a moment to come to seated and then come straight into Navasana or boat pose. Engage your abdominal muscles, leaning back, send your arms out ahead. Option to extend the legs higher. Then we'll drop the legs over to the left and the arms over to the right. Big inhale, big exhale, engaging back through center, and then switch sides. Big inhale, lengthening through the legs. Big exhale, back to center. Finding Navasana again, lengthening the arms and legs out, and do a few pulses here. Next, bring the soles of the feet together, coming into Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. Lengthen tall, and then on the next exhale, bring the chest forward, coming all the way down. Breathe in here. Big inhale. Big exhale, rise all the way back up. From here, extend your right leg out long and bring your left leg in towards the inner thigh, pressing the foot against the thigh. Take a big inhale and then exhale, lengthen across that leg, coming into a seated forward fold. On each inhale, try to lengthen through the hamstrings. And on each exhale, bring the chest over. Then inhale to come up and exhale to release. Bring your your left hand up towards the sky and then tuck it underneath that knee, looking out and over your shoulder, coming into a spinal twist. Keeping that left foot on the floor, and then you have an option to bind here. So I got my arms wrong. I apologize. It should be your right arm around. Coming back to center, shake out your legs. Sit nice and tall on the sit bones. Big inhale. Big exhale, lengthen everything forward, reaching for the toes. Again, work to lengthen through the hamstrings and bring the chest towards the ground, not pulling on the back. Continue to breathe. Big inhale, big exhales, and then rise up, bringing the right foot towards the inner thigh, sitting tall again, and then lengthening everything forward over that left leg. Continue to breathe here. Nice big breath. And then inhale to rise up. Reach for the outside of that right leg. This time, lift the right arm up, come to the outside of that leg, and find a twist towards the back of the room. Note, you are using the opposite arm and the opposite leg here. So if you got confused, join the club. And again, you have an option to bind here, reaching around and grabbing for the fingertips. On each inhale, get taller, and on each exhale, twist further. And then come back to center, releasing your legs down. Scooch yourself forward so that your feet are flat onto the ground, and we're going to lie slowly back onto our spine. When you get there, bring your knees into your chest, give yourself a hug, and rock from side to side. Then from here, we're going to work from bridge into wheel pose, if that is in your practice. Scoot your bum close to your heel, and on your next inhale, we're going to lift our hips up towards the sky and lengthen our shoulder blades down our back anymore. You can interlace your fingers underneath here and press your fingertips towards the heels. And then exhale and lower down. Bring the knees into the chest. Rock from side to side. And then we'll get ready to do bridge pose one more time. Placing the feet down, hips distance apart. Inhale, lift to rise. Shoulder blades come down the back. Breathe here. Engage through the quadriceps here and really use those muscles to lengthen. And then exhale and release. Again, we're going to take a moment here, and if you have wheel in your practice, bend the elbows, take the hands over your head, and then lift up once more. If wheel is not in your practice, feel free to do bridge. After a few breaths, lower down. We're going to bend our left knee into our chest, rotate through the ankle. Wind relieving pose here, great for the digestive system. Then take the hand to the outside of the body and bring the leg across the body, coming into a lower spinal twist. This should feel really good, especially after a long day of mountain biking. Keep both shoulders squared, and then bring that leg back up. Bring the other leg back up. Rock gently from side to side, and then we'll switch. Hang on to the opposite leg, bringing it into your chest, working the opposite side of your colon. Option to rotate through those ankles here, and then take the hand to the outside of that leg and come into a spinal twist. Big inhale. Big exhale. Both shoulders pressed onto the ground. Come back to center. And then bring both knees in. To stretch out the entire colon, we're going to roll up into a tiny little ball. Squeeze everything together as tight as you can. And then release. We're going to rock and roll 3 times here and come back to seated for our final poses. Place those feet on the ground, and we're going to make our way back into a downward facing dog. From here, we'll come into pigeon pose. So lift the right leg up, and we're going to bring it forward and place it behind the shins, all the way on the mat. If pigeon is uncomfortable for you, remember that you can do this on your back as a thread the needle kind of option. Take a big inhale, and then exhale, walk everything down. Resting your forehead onto the mat and your hands completely down. Take a nice inhale and exhale. Noting that these poses are incredibly restorative and amazing for the hips and the thighs. And give yourself the opportunity to rest. On your next inhale, bring your hands by your side. Start to rise up, lift the chest. Stay right here or reach back to those toes, the opposite leg that is bent, and maybe come into mermaid. You do not have to do this and can go straight to downward facing dog. We will meet you there. Once you're in downward facing dog, feel free to pedal out the legs, shake out the hips, whatever you need. And then we'll do that on the opposite side. Left leg comes forward. Take a big inhale, lengthen through the spine. Check to see that foot is in line. And then exhale, fold forward. Rest here and enjoy a nice big inhale and exhale to release. Enjoy the hard work that you've put in and the restoration that this practice can bring, loosening up your muscles and preparing you for another hard day at whatever you have to do later, physically, mentally, or emotionally. On your next inhale, plant your hands, slowly rise up. Option to reach back, pull that leg in, and come into mermaid on this side. If that's not in your practice, you can go straight to downward facing dog. Again, in downward facing dog, take a moment, lengthen through everything. Nice big inhale. And then gaze forward, coming to seated for the last time. Place your feet onto the mat and then slowly roll down. Once you get there, notice if there's anything else that your physical body needs. Take a moment, scan from head to toe, and then make those movements for yourself. For this Shavasana today, we're going to do legs up the wall, which is an incredibly restorative posture for legs that have been utilized, standing all day, riding bikes, running, whatever that it is that have made your hamstrings and quads very tight. So find a wall close by, lengthen the legs up, scoot yourself in closely. Then we're going to place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly and finish out your Shavasana, being as still as possible, taking all the time that you need here. You can even pause the video and take longer. Slowly start to come back. Move through fingers and reach long overhead for a good morning stretch. Bend the knees, slide the feet down the wall, and roll gently over onto one side. Take a moment, curl into a little ball, and send yourself a huge amount of gratitude for doing a practice that is so amazing for your body physically, mentally, and emotionally. And then press yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Titan's going to join us for our Namaste. So take a moment, nice big inhale, nice big exhale, bring your palm together, send yourself gratitude and the people around you gratitude. Thank you so much. Namaste.